cozy friends. I've been feeling a little down in the dumps lately. And by lately, I just mean like the past couple of days. It really hasn't been that long. It's actually been a lovely end of March and early April. My social battery is like in the negatives and I don't know, I'm just kind of feeling a little down. And I think what I need to do is read a bunch, just read as much as I can, read things that lighten my spirits, that make me happy. Or not. I can work in some sad books too, but I just want to read some like springy romance picks. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. What constitutes a springy romance to me? I don't know. Romance books that I just have laying around, basically, that aren't kind of fall themed, because I have a lot of fall, Halloween-y, spooky, witchy romance books and like fantasy books. To me, that's not very spring. Either way, I just want to have a nice long reading vlog and like talk y'all through my impressions of the books and stuff. So if you want to have a little reading day, a little reading moment, and you want a companion, you found your gal. Okay, let's read together today. First, y'all already know I have to put on my cozy ambiance. I will be doing that immediately. I've got to set the tone, and then lighting some candles and getting like drinks and snacks. Brian did make me a little coffee because I was like, I'm feeling sad, and he's like, I'll make you a little coffee for pick me up. So he made me a little iced coffee in this mug. It's delicious. He knows what he's doing. I might open some windows. We talked about in my romanticizing your day just how much opening your windows can like make you feel better. So I'm gonna do that as well. Oh, I just found a good one, I think. This is a lovely one. Look at that. Look at her go. It's nice, you know, coffee shop, kind of rainy. Sure, I'll take it. Okay, let's get a snack. But first I want to talk to y'all about our cozy sponsor, ThredUp. I'm so excited. So if you don't know, ThredUp is like thrifting, but online. So like you can go through all of the fun of thrifting at home in the comfort of your home. Like it's perfect for me. I love it. I shop both on their website and on their app. The app's like super easy to navigate. And the thrift hunt is so easy because of like keywords and like size filters, color filters, like the different categories they have. I have so much fun like shopping on the app that I saved over like 50 favorites that you can shop if you want. So I'll add a link to the description if you want to look at my favorites. There's a lot of cute ones. I couldn't get them all. Okay, how spring is this already? Look at that. Look. Abercrombie bodysuit, by the way. Here's the retail price. Here's what I got it for. This little skirt, a rainier day during the spring. How cute. Some pants, also with the spring stripes. Quarter zip, because I've been obsessed with this brown quarter zip that I have, but it's dark brown and I wanted a lighter one for the spring, so this one is perfect. Banana Republic and this. Oh, I'm so excited. It's like hobo bag. It's giving hobo bag, but like 2000s, and it's leather. This oversized sweater. How cute! The perfect off the shoulder, and then the perfect little spring pants. Okay, we've got the Abercrombie bodysuit, the skirt, dad cap, we've got a sweater, and then imagine some like Birks or some Sambas. I pulled this out of the closet so it's a little wrinkly. Okay, but we've got the Abercrombie bodysuit. We've got the leather jacket. We've got the purse, and then I've got some boots that I found. If y'all want to shop my favorites, I'll have the link in my description. And you can use my code COZYK to get 35% off plus free shipping on your first order. Thank you, ThredUp, for the little reading break, but we gotta get back to reading. Come on, let's go. Look at these guys, foot to foot right now. Oh my god, they're so cute.
She's a girl. Hi, baby. She's a boy. Hi, Bubba. Hi, stretchy boy.
Stretched out. Alright, y'all, I have the wildest smattering of snacks. I've got Cinnamon Toast Crunch because I need a little hit of sugar. I found this random blow pop, so that might happen later. I have some cranberries in a berry dish, and then I have some greens because I feel like whenever I am feeling down, there's definitely a high chance it could be body related and not getting the nutrients I need. Since the Cinnamon Toast Crunch isn't doing it, gotta get my greens in. I did have some amazing dumpling soup for lunch. Fantastic. First things first, I want to talk about this book. Okay, I want to talk about this book because I literally just finished it yesterday, so I feel like we can loop it in. We can pull it in with our book discussions today. Y'all, this is the book for the adult version of you who was very into boy band fan fiction when you were younger. If that describes you, if you're like, yeah, that was me. I was on Wattpad reading the 1D fanfics. I was on AO3. If that's you, I feel like this is the not adult version of that because that's not the case. Okay, the fanfics were fanficking back in the day. There were some that were not, there were some that were. And if you knew where to look, you knew where to look. That's all I'm gonna say. This is not the adult version of that. It's more like the adult nod to that period of your life, if that makes sense. It's not literally a fanfic, one. Like, it is completely different characters, but it is like very clearly based off of One Direction back in the day. Like, if you were even vaguely aware that One Direction exists, like, you will understand this is very clearly about One Direction. It came out in 2017, right after they were huge. Also, the main character is so Harry-coded. It's like almost, sometimes it's a little cringy. Things I liked about it. I liked that the protagonist was a mature woman. She was 39 and then turned 40 in the book. I liked that. I liked the perspective on it, and you can tell that the author herself is a mature woman. There's a lot of perspectives that I feel like I just haven't heard in media and literature. Adult, mature women navigating their love lives post like divorce or just like not even having had a serious relationship. That's one I just feel like I don't hear that often, and I would love to hear more of that. I would love to hear more of that. And there's even kind of a theme touched on in the book of like, once you pass a certain age as a woman, you're basically invisible. Like, people don't care about you because they don't value you as just a human like they do with men, where, you know, there's a certain level of respect and benefit of the doubt given to any man, no matter what age, and kind of in particular with older men. So you're not given that, and you're also not seen in a romantic or even sexualized way. It's kind of like you're forcibly stripped of your sexuality, forcibly stripped of your desire and allure. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way, because there's plenty of people that find mature women absolutely stunning and beautiful. Most of us women who can just like appreciate beauty that isn't exactly what society tells you it should be. Also, just like finding yourself and finding your passions kind of later in life, and like not compromising on those things for the sake of family, and like not just having motherhood be your sole identity. Like, I think that's just such a powerful, interesting topic to discuss. Do I feel like they really dove deep into that and like unpacked things and like subverted what it means to be a mature woman? No, I don't feel like they did that. I feel like it was just kind of sprinkled in such a way where it's kind of dealt with lightly, and you're like, okay, you know, what a nice consideration. I wish you like went into that a little more. But I like that attention was called to it. I liked just that it was a perspective at all. I'm trying to think of anything else that I liked. I liked that I felt so immersed into the world that was built, you know? Like, I felt like I was right there. The stakes, I feel like I was feeling the stakes of this relationship and like everything that both parties could lose from it. I was very immersed, and even at the end I was emotionally there. I was like emotionally touched. The basic synopsis of this book is like, older mom takes 13-year-old daughter to see this boy band in Vegas at like a meet and greet, and they're like rich, so they can go to this like meet and greet. She meets boy band member in question, and he's basically just like flirty, flirt, asks her like where she works, and he like finds her later, and then they have a dalliance of sorts. Okay, the things I don't like about it, basically everything else. I didn't like this book. I had a good time reading it, and it kind of like pulled me out of a little reading slump. I wouldn't say it was a reading rut because I was still reading, but I feel like I was in a slump of like a string of books I just really wasn't vibing with, but I was reading just because they were like entertaining. And so this kind of like threw in something different into the mix, inspired me to read more romances that aren't just like fantasy romances. Yeah, kind of like really turned on some lights in my brain of like, oh, maybe I'll like to read about XYZ, and that I should read about XYZ. That's what I got out of this book. Everything else about this book I did not like. I don't know. I feel like anyone who has read a really good fanfic, any book that is like a quasi fanfic is just not gonna hit the same. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not gonna hit the same. Like, I know what this is trying to do, and I know what this could be, and it just isn't, because I've read what it could be, you know? Anyways, that's that. Specifically what I didn't like about it though, I didn't like the I'm not like other girls vibes. I understand that she is kind of like an older woman trying to grapple with feeling confident amidst a sea of like young, beautiful women. But like, they always did this thing of like, well, I don't like models because they're stupid, basically. Or like kind of putting down any woman that was beautiful and young by saying, oh, well, she's stupid. She's vapid. She only cares about like the followers she has and whatever. It's like, for one, there are tons of beautiful young women that are intelligent and kind and etc. Their whole being does not revolve around their looks, even if they happen to be pretty conventionally. So that's one. And two, why are we not being girls right now? Our generation, we're girls, okay? If you are pretty and vapid and all you care about is Instagram likes, go girl. You go girl. I'm supporting you from the sidelines. That's not me, but I support you. And you know what I mean? Just That gave me the ick. I really didn't like that he was 20. I know that's like the point of the book is like, oh my god, the age difference. He didn't need to be 20. The book could have had the same exact purpose, same function, same lessons that the main character learned by him not being 20. He didn't have to be 20. It grossed me out, gave me the ick. And then the way that she kind of like talked about him in her head felt predatory, or felt like I like him because he's young. Like there are certain parts where she's like, oh sweet boy, young boy, sweet boy kind of thing. And then also said something about like, I like that he hasn't grown hair here yet or something like that. Like, you know, when he gets older and hair grows where I wouldn't want it to. I'm like, ugh, are you okay? Are you okay? Do you need to go to therapy? I don't know. I guess some people are into that, but like it grosses me out personally. I think that the same point of the book could have been accomplished by him just being a slightly younger guy with like an excitement for life, and he's kind of like showing her new perspectives and like you still have a chance to like have fun in your life, and for it not to be this kind of more predatory vibe. I think the premise of like, well, it's the fact that it's a scandal that could have been accomplished still, because it still could have been at least like, I don't know, let's say like 25, 26. That's still kind of like, whoa, but at least like the frontal lobes fully developed. Like at least there's some life experiences that have been had that make it not predatory, you know? So there's that. And then they would like drop in things like no one would bat an eye if it's a man and a young girl, but because it's this and patriarchy, and it's like, no, don't do that, because it's not cool either way. Like no one bats an eye because of sexism. It's not sexism because the reverse isn't okay. It's sexism because it's okay at all. You know what I mean? I did like how it ended. I liked how it ended. Obviously won't give too many spoilers, but I thought it was the only appropriate ending to the book. I think if there was a sequel kind of fast forwarded in both of the characters' lives, I think that would be kind of a compelling story and one that I would feel less icked out by. But I think this was truly the only correct ending to this story. I respected it. That's that. You should read this book if you like celebrity, regular person romance tropes. Like if that is interesting to you, and excitement of like having a peek into celebrity life and like what it would be like to date a celebrity. If that interests you, you might like this. And then I think if you are interested in kind of like living vicariously, if you're like an older woman, or like you feel like that's a perspective you would like to read from, I think you might like reading just kind of like a little fluffy romance. That's really what this is. Like if you just want a light fluffy romance that's you're not gonna like be too invested in, you're also not gonna be like too upset at, I think this is like a good one if you want a perspective of like a more mature woman. So that's this book. I think it is a good like springtime book. There's a lot of like vacationing and travel, and I think that's kind of cool. Like it kind of feels like, oh, you're going to these places with them almost. It's a lot of just like light fluffy fun, like fun events and fun travel and stuff. So I think if you don't like those specific things, this is probably is a pass. I think it's a little corny and it's a little like fanfic if you haven't read really amazing fantastic fanfic. So that's this. I'm really excited to see the movie though. There's one thing about like a corny book versus a corny movie premise, and like a little corny mom meets boy band movie, I'm all for it. I love it. I'm so excited. And for Anne Hathaway to be in it, please, I'm so excited. I hope it's done well. And less predatory. That's it. What would I rate this? Maybe a 2.5 out of 5, I think. 2.5 out of 5. There was somewhat of a connection. I did appreciate some of the writing. Some of the writing did kind of get me in the feels a little bit, but just some quite unforgivable things in the predatory nature of the relationship. That's that on The Idea of You. Robin Lee. All right. I am moving on to Wildfire. I bought this in a vlog. In that vlog, I talked about how I love a romance trope, you guys. I don't know what this is. Like, I need to unpack this with a therapist or something. Not in a bad way. I just need to, like, unpack it. I'm curious. Why I love when the male romance interest is, like, obsessed with the girl. Like, there's no denying he's attracted to and obsessed with the female love interest. But, like, the female love interest has to pursue him for some reason because of some extenuating circumstances, like some kind of context. He feels like he can't pursue her, or he can't for some reason, and then she kind of has to like egg him on and like pursue him. It's just so interesting. It's so fun. I love it. It gets me every time. So like in this one, they're both camp counselors and they're basically not supposed to have a relationship at this camp. Like it's against the rules, and he's a rule follower, but she is not. okay? And so she's kind of like egging him on, and he's like trying to be good, you know what I mean? We've got to unpack that, friends. We've got to unpack that, but it gets me every time. I don't like when it's unrequited. Like, that immediately gives me the ick. I don't like when the female love interest is like pursuing somebody that is not interested in her. No, absolutely not. He's obsessed, but she like has some sense of power in that she's like, I can make you go outside of your arbitrary rules you have in your head because you want me so bad. Is that what it is? I don't know. And it's not even like a personal thing in my life that I would like. It's just I like reading that dynamic in books. Hannah Grace is an English self-labeled fluffy comfort book. See, that's what I need. I need a fluffy comfort book, but I need a well-written, non-predatory fluffy comfort book. I'm hoping this is exactly that. I'm gonna start reading. I'm so excited. Let's go. The writing isn't amazing. I feel like the writing was better in Icebreaker, actually. When I was reading Icebreaker, I feel like I didn't have a thought about the writing. Like, I was more thinking about the plot, and this is her second book. So maybe she was like on a time crunch or something, I don't know, but it felt a little bit more like the writing is more noticeable in a bad way. So maybe she wasn't like peak game like she was on Icebreakers. Yeah, I don't know. I like the characters enough so far. Like, I like the dynamic. The guy's more like shy, trying to work on his confidence, but still like pretty self-assured. And then girl is like confident and a little spicier, you know? So interesting dynamic. We'll see how it plays out. I like this quote. I'm not going to explain the context, it's silly. But she says, the compliment floods my system, melting me, and the vulnerability from 10 seconds ago dissipates into nothing as the validation seeps into my system like a drug. It's not that I've never been told I'm hot before. I have, but this guy seems tortured by it. Like, he'll never recover from it. Like, I'm the tipping point of his sanity, and that is a feeling I could get addicted to. I just like the vulnerability of that observation. I feel like you don't often see that in romance books, you know? I feel like the author is fearful that it'll make the character seem kind of like not perfect, you know? But I like when they show the kind of imperfect, even though it's like a normal feeling, like an imperfect observations and feelings from the main characters. It's great. I want someone to be tortured by my hotness. So true, bestie. I also like, she follows it up with, my lips quirk as I desperately try to ignore my brain seeking more attention. It's unreliable in the presence of men since it's so easily impressed by mediocrity. Flawed narrator who knows her flaws. Okay? Self-aware. I love it. Hey y'all. So I was reading this for a while last night. I'm on like page 130 now. I think I can finish it in like the next day or two. So I think we're chugging along on this one. Same thoughts on it, like the characters, but the actual writing just feels a little like not even juvenile, just like it's not what I know she can do. Like, it feels like if I was writing a scene, you know, or like just anyone who isn't a writer is just like picking up and writing a story. That's kind of what it feels like a little bit, which is fine. It's fine. It's just not what I'm used to with her writing. Not that like her writing's like amazing. It's just not at this level usually. So I don't know. It's like a tiny bit distracting sometimes, but not enough to not enjoy it. Like, I'm still enjoying the story. And then even kind of like the exposition is a little bit heavy-handed. You know, it's like, these are all of my past issues and family issues. These are all of my issues, and I'm walking you through them like word for word. It's a little bit heavy-handed, but it's okay. I like the characters. It's fine. So I'm gonna keep reading this today, and then I'm also taking a break to make a card for Ryan for our 2-year anniversary. So sweet. Some of you were here before we even got together, so some of us have had longer anniversaries than me and Ryan. But I'm gonna make him a card right now, and then I'll get back to reading. Can you read that? Maybe I'll outline it. Okay, back to reading. You guys, I have to share just like the worst lines of dialogue I've ever read in my life. It's giving like when you're writing a essay on a test and the teacher's like, wrap it up, write your last sentences. This is you like wrapping it up as quickly as you can. I don't know. Okay. So the friend is talking to the like main romantic love interest and he's like, well, remember, we're not faking now. You are confident. You're a tall, hot, well-educated hockey player. Women will look past every red flag for a man over 6'2". So stop waiting for something bad to happen and go have fun. He says, I don't think I have any red flags. And he goes, oh, my sweet summer child. He laughs. You're a straight white man. That's your red flag. Which, okay, could be funny. I was like, okay, you know, could be kind of funny. He responds with, that seems totally fair, actually. Thanks for chatting with me, man. I appreciate you. Love you, brother. Speak soon. What? It's like... I don't even know how to like explain what it is. It's like what someone would hope a straight white man would respond with. It's just so bad. It's so bad. Like you would think he would respond with like a little bit of humor or something. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, you know what? Yeah. Sure. And then like there's a couple more lines of dialogue and then they say bye to each other, but it's like, that seems totally fair actually. Thanks for chatting with me. I appreciate it. It's so weird. I hate it. The writing I think is getting worse. I think the writing's getting worse. Now it seems like I'm exactly halfway. I think somebody mentioned on Book Talk that like the writers get paid for each page or something. It very much feels like typing words to get to a page limit. There's no point to like the various paths this book takes. There's no point. It's a lot of just like fluffy moments, but like they're not fluffy enough to be like the stakes are so low. It's not like actual good fluff. I don't know. Like I really want to finish it because like I do care about the characters getting together at least. I don't know if I care about the characters, but I do care about like I want to see them get together. I don't know, y'all. That's all. I'm gonna keep reading. I have one more thought about this book and just a general thought about writing when I feel like writing is not as impactful as it could be, or just like character work. I don't like when the characters themselves explain their psychological processes. For example, the guy in this, he like folds everything. Like he like folds his clothes like the first night. I'm not spoiling anything. The first night they got together, he like folded her clothes for her. And then she's like, why do you always fold your clothes? And he's like, well, you know, when my dad blah blah blah, and then so now I fold my clothes all the time. And it's like a lot of people, especially the people in this book, they are at the stage of their like emotional growth journeys that I feel like they would not be that self-aware about this. Most people have not unpacked their traumas and their like life experiences in such a way where they know the reason behind every single thing they do. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the better writing technique, maybe not better, but like the more moving, impactful writing technique is like letting the reader come to that inference themselves by like them just sharing something. You know, like they're like just being more vague about it, and then we as a reader can be like, oh, because his dad. You know what I mean? Every single thing that the characters do in this book, they have an explanation for it. Every single thing. Like this is like the fifth thing he's talked about. And the girl, same thing. It's just like I feel like people don't operate that way. You know, when people operate that way is when they're creating a character in a book. And they're like, this is my character's backstory. These are my character's motivations. And like you're writing out what you want the character to be, but then you don't have the character actually say that. You know what I mean? You don't have the character like spell it out for people. You show rather than tell. This book specifically is not good at showing rather than telling, which is wild because I don't know, I feel like Icebreakers was pretty good at that. I mean, I don't think the characters had that much personality to begin with, and maybe that was like a critique that she got from Icebreakers and was like, oh no, I need to like really flesh out these characters, and instead of like showing that rather than telling it, she's just telling us that she fleshed out the characters directly from the characters' mouth. But yeah, I honestly think her writing was better when she wasn't trying to make these kind of like backstories of the characters, because then we can make our own inferences, you know? I don't know. Just some thoughts on character work in books. Okay, I went out to dinner. I'm back. I'm reading Wildfire. There's Azula. Hi, girl. Still chugging along. Hi, Tila boy. Hi, Tila boy. Hi, buddy. Come here. Good boy. Zula, what are you doing? You having an existential crisis over there? What are you doing? What are you doing, Azula? Okay. Sorry, Tila, I'll shut up. Sorry. Azula, you sniffing? Hey y'all. I had kind of a busy day yesterday, so I didn't actually get to sit down and finish this book. Probably like 100 or 150 pages left, so I think I can finish it. I will say I'm not like dying to jump in and read it super quickly or like finish it super quickly. It's falling a little flat for me. It's falling flat, which we already talked about why, but I'm pushing through. And then the next one I'm reading, I don't know, we'll figure it out after this. After I finish this, I feel like I'll know if I need to really prepare and read the Goodreads reviews so that I know if it's gonna be a good one or if maybe it ends well and I'm like, I could read another poopy one. I'm fine with that. So I don't know. Y'all already know what the vibes are. Taco Bell. Taco Bell. My camera died, but I am moving to the bed to read, and I'm putting vinegar on in the background because I've seen it so many times that it's okay if I'm missing a little bit. It's just some nice background music. That's that. If you are a musical person, what is your favorite musical? Let me hear it. I want to know. You guys, this book, it just keeps getting worse and worse. It's like an after school special. I'll just read this page. Okay. After a bunch of just BS, like after a bunch of just like, I knew you guys were hooking up. We're your family, Rory. You will always have a home here, even if you do things that make me want to strangle you. I love you, Jen. And I love you. People don't always let you get away with things because they don't care. I let you get away with things because you deserve to be happy. You deserve to feel and believe you are wanted and enjoy being loved because so many people love you, Rory. Mind you, this is not a conversation where this heart-to-heart would be happening. It's just not. It's not. She responds, I had a really great heart-to-heart with my mom today. A lot of things make sense now, especially about my dad. Which was like, she just had this random conversation with her mom. Her mom was like super emotionally detached and like a character, right? Like not self-aware at all. And then suddenly comes to camp and has this like super, deep conversation about her dad. And like, it's so out of place. It's like trying to wrap up loose ends, but like it doesn't even make sense for the mom's character. She's just like bringing this up right now. I had a great heart-to-heart and like, I really closed out that chapter. Like, what? Oh, and then the other girl goes, dad is a word. It doesn't mean anything unless there's an action and intention behind it. He's really just an asshole who you happen to share DNA with. That's it. We don't need him. You don't do fine without him. You do better. Where in the world is this conversation happening? In what universe would this conversation happen? That's another critique I had that I forgot to share. It's just like everything that somebody says is like the perfect thing that they could say in a perfect world, even if it doesn't like fit in the context of the setting, or like even if the character wouldn't say that. The character is also flawed. The character would have their own flawed interpretations of things or own flawed responses, or not even flawed, just like not perfect textbook like therapy talk, but like every single person responds to the other person with like teacher talking to like student. You're like, hey, it's okay because da da da. It's so weird, and this is just like the culmination of that. It's like the worst example of it. I'll keep reading. Wait, I need to follow up. The follow-up is, this is not at all how I would have predicted this going, and I'm walking out of here feeling totally confused. Did a 13-year-old write this? Like, I'm so confused. Oh my god, y'all. Okay, I'm watching Chorus Line now and I just finished. I was like rushing through, like speed reading through the past like 50 to 100 pages because it was just so bad and it didn't get better. It got worse and worse and worse. It just kept going on and on and on and on and on and on, and there was nothing. I didn't care about any of the characters. I just didn't care. All of it was not good. It was so bad. Honestly, like 1.5. I'm honestly upset that I wasted the time reading the rest of this and I didn't just stop like here. Do not recommend. Absolutely do not recommend. Maybe I just don't like the author. I think I'm gonna try and finish Icebreakers either today or tomorrow and see and confirm if I just don't like the author. But I really just think it felt rushed and like it just was so bad. It was like laughably bad at some point. I don't know how is all I'm gonna say. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be like super negative. I don't want to be this negative about a book. I wish I liked it. I don't know. It was just like objectively, it felt bad objectively. And then also the point that the whole reason I wanted to read it and like the whole trope of like she kind of has to egg him on and like none of that happened, which is what the summary is. The summary is like she's kind of teasing him and he's like a rule follower. That wasn't even it. Barely it. It was like both of them like, oh no, we shouldn't. And then I don't want to give anything away, but it was just such a letdown. So I think I'm going to try and finish Icebreakers next. I'm gonna say goodbye to y'all now and I'll update y'all either on Icebreakers status or on the next book I will be reading. All right, let's go. Hi y'all, it's the next morning. I have stream in a little bit, but I'm gonna have a little reading session before stream, and I'm finishing Icebreakers, and then I have these two are the last two. I've whittled it down. I think I'm gonna try and finish this one, and then if I have it in me, maybe this one too, but for now, Icebreakers and this, and that's it. All right, let's go. I am now noticing some of the writing style that I don't like in Wildfire that is kind of creeping through. I don't know what it is. I feel like she did fine at showing rather than telling through the whole first part of this book, but it's like when her writing gets lazy, she just like writes out what our interpretation of the situation should be instead of just showing it. Or she does both, which is redundant. I'm starting to notice that. And then also the like dirty talk is so cringy. It's not all dirty talk in books that makes her cringe. It's just hers. I'm not even gonna repeat it. I'm not gonna repeat it. It's still much better than Wildfire though, I will say. Like I'm still noticing things about it that are way better than Wildfire. Also, this is another epidemic in romance books. Every male love interest, they go on and on about how huge their you-know-what is. They're like, it's monstrous. It's, oh my, Why? It makes me so uncomfortable. I don't know. It's giving the same energy as like teen boys being like, yeah, huge tits and huge ass. It feels like objectifying in a way, you know? Or like this unrealistic standard that like most women don't care about. Good intimacy should not focus solely around peen. I feel like when books do this, it's centering the peen. He's my dream guy, and then he also has a like, get real. Like, it's just so annoying. It just annoys me. It's frustrating, and it's childish, and it's too peen focused. Okay, that's it. She wrote the word dignitized, like dickmatized. I feel like as a writer, she heard the word dickmatized and was like, well, the correct one would be dignitized because hypnotized, but that's not like the word that people use. People say dickmatized, and she said dignitized. Oh my god. Alright y'all, it's a new day. I'm doing a little work. 50%, and it's fine. It's fine, it's tolerable, and I really just want to finish it because it's been on my currently reading forever, for like over a year. I really just want to finish it. And then I'm never touching a Hannah Grace book ever again in my life. And then I want to read something that I actually enjoy. Alone with You in the Ether. I know I'm gonna like Alone with You in the Ether, and I think that's kind of why, I don't know why, but for me, I like want to savor the books and I like don't want to finish them when I actually like them. So then I just like read these like trash books. That's it. Okay, I'm gonna keep working and keep reading. All right, y'all. Update on the progress. We're about like 70% on Icebreakers. It's not getting much better, but it's also not getting much worse. I feel like Wildfire was a steep drop off. It was just like so steep. Icebreakers, it's kind of like smooth sailing the whole time. This is the setup today. It's looking very pretty with the rainbow and everything. So I'm excited to just dive in and finish this book. We've got Azula baby here.
Hi, Azula baby.
All right, I'm gonna grab myself a snack and a drink and then dive on in. Okay. We're powering through. I'm gonna see you on the other side. That's a promise. That's a promise.
Look at Azula. Hi, girlie. He's just hanging. Look at your little feetsies. Look at your little feetsies.
He's just hanging out right under this thing.
So silly. So silly.
I promise I'm not trying to be mean, but I would just like to understand why this book is so popular. How any editors didn't kind of jump in and have a say in the plot and the conflicts and the resolution. I promise I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not. It makes me so frustrated. I want to cry. It makes me so frustrated. This is a pattern now in her writing. It's a pattern now in her writing. I think if I had started with this, I wouldn't be as upset, but I've seen the worst of it in Wildfire, and so now when I see it in this, I'm seething. It's not that it's corny. If it was corny and like just straightforward or cliche, I think that's the word I'm looking for. If it was cliche and just single note, I would be okay with that. I would welcome that at this point. I like the characters, actually. I like the characters. I even still kind of care about them at this point. 94% through. I still kind of care about them, want to see this wrapped up. The writing is absolutely ruining it for me. Just make it a cliche, cut and dry, clean and tidy ending, and I feel like that would have made it so much better. It's like she keeps trying to add in these little like mini conflicts, these mini like dramatic moments. The worst one of all is right at the end, right at 94%. It's when I'm not giving spoilers, but like Nate realizes something about Stassi's skating partner, and it's like it's set up to be this like huge moment. He's having all these feelings about it, but like we knew this the whole time. What do you mean? How would you not know if you knew? If like and not in a way of like we all saw this coming, it was obvious. No, not in that way. Like literally in the plot of the book is that we all knew, and he knew, and she knew, and everybody knew. It's not a miscommunication thing. It's like he said that the main character did something. The main character knew he didn't do something. It's like he's having this realization that like he really didn't do that thing. I don't know how to explain this without giving spoilers, y'all. Maybe I could do a spoiler. Okay, spoiler warning for Icebreaker. Spoiler break for Icebreaker. Skip forward to this timestamp. Okay. Nate, I'm gonna rage. Nate at the final hockey game, and the UCLA player is like, wait, Aaron hurt himself playing football with us at the beach. We were joking around. What do you mean? Why'd you take the fall for it? Aaron hurt himself with us playing football on the beach. And Nate is like blacking out, like literally I can see his mouth moving in front of me, but I can't hear anything over the sound of the ringing in my ears. Everything seems to slow down as all the pieces rapidly start dropping into place. I'd made peace with being the first person Aaron would blame during an unfortunate accident, but you knew you didn't do anything. Everybody knew you didn't do anything, and you were he was taking the blame so that the team could move on and play hockey this season. He took the blame solely for that. He didn't take the blame because he had like amnesia and was like, oh, I don't remember if I hurt you, I roughed you up. I've been battling against this team's reputation for almost 4 years and I wasn't angry about it anymore. But he knew how he got hurt, and he tried to get me in trouble for it anyways. You knew! What do you mean? Everybody knew! You knew specifically because you took the blame for it to save your team. So you knew it wasn't that you hurt him. What is the realization here? Like, what else could it have been other than him? It's just giving, like, it doesn't make sense. It's a dropped in conflict at the last minute, or like it's a conflict that was supposed to be a surprise, but like it couldn't have been because Nate was the one involved in it. Like it doesn't, this is when an editor would come in and say, hey bestie, this is a great idea. I like what we're working with here, but it doesn't make sense, right? Like what were you trying to do here? Because it didn't make sense, and maybe let's go back to the drawing board. Maybe let's have somebody else take the blame, right? Nate thinks it's them. Nate now finds out later on it wasn't them, and it actually was Aaron lying, because it doesn't make sense when Nate's the one who's taking the blame. I'm pissed. And this was like the entirety of Wildfire was just like little things like this that did not make sense logically, or that were just like resolved in the stupidest, most like after school special way. I'm frustrated. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean to the author. I just really feel like an editor should have like, I'm blaming the editors, really, is what I'm doing. I'm blaming the editors. Okay. I'm finishing the last 5% of this book. Wish me luck, you guys. Wish me freaking luck. There was such solid drama at the end of this. Spoiler warning again. That little stupid revelation didn't need to happen. That didn't need to happen. Nate could have pulled her aside after all of this went down and been like, girl, also, truly, I did not injure that man, so he had to have been lying. I need to make sure we're on the same page here. That could have been a conversation after where she's like, wow, no, true, like, he's truly psycho because I didn't really think about it fully. That guarantees that he just, like, made that up. Okay. That's it. All right, we're back in. Hey, non-spoiler people. I'll finish and then rant. Okay, it's over. It's over. It's over. Oh my god. I will say, the point of this vlog and this experience of reading some romance books was to pull me out of a stinky feeling, right? I was feeling a little rough. I was feeling a little dejected. And it worked. Not in the way I thought it would. I thought I would feel all of this, moxie verve for life, inspired by the romance. Instead, I've been pulled out through sheer frustration and shock at the audacity of some people. I'm being dramatic. Okay, Icebreakers wasn't as bad as Wildfire. It wasn't as bad. Was it good? I don't think so personally. I don't think it was personally good. I think the characters were compelling. I think the characters were kind of interesting. I liked how Anastasia was, spunky. And I think that's a very common trope in romance books these days, like contemporary romance. She has to be a spunky, quirky, crazy girl. I'm fine with that. It's a cliche. It's a trope. I'll accept. I kind of like it because you never know what's going to come out of her mouth. For now, I'm not tired of that. The guy in contemporary romance and even in this book seems a little bit like too good to be true dream boy, like never says anything wrong, never does anything wrong. If it does, it's like it's because he just loves her so much, he just cares so much. He's just perfect. I'm okay with that sometimes too, even. In the Kiss Quotient, which she actually mentions in this book, she references the Kiss Quotient. In the Kiss Quotient, I feel like the guy was kind of like perfect, but he had like all of these things going on in his life that made it so that he was still a like very nuanced, compelling character and like there was complexity to him. And I think Hannah Grace tries to create complexity through just like family situations and like family dynamics, but they don't really like affect who the character is at their core. They just exist. They're like arching over the character, but they don't actually like seep into the character's motives or anything. And I feel like she tried to improve that in Wildfire, but instead of it actually like seeping into the character and their motives, the characters just like regurgitated like how that affects them, but like we didn't see that really. They just talked about it. So I don't know. I think Hannah Grace has a lot of growth to do as a writer. I think that she writes funny dialogue sometimes, and I think that her characters can be kind of lovable sometimes, and like the kind of found family dynamic, I always kind of roll my eyes at because it's a little corny, but it is kind of fun when it's done well. I think that like there's elements of her writing that are redeemable, but I think like the core of it, the foundation of it, it needs so much work, and I think that's like what frustrates me about it is like, how did we get to this finished product? Like so many rounds of edits could have happened to like make it such a good, which I feel like is the point of an editor. An author can kind of have this like rough, she came up with the idea, she came up with the character, she's got the fun dialogue. The editor should now take all of that solid material and like make it make sense. I don't think that is 100% on the writer all the time. So I think whoever published this, whoever edited it, those are just my thoughts though. I think it could have been done better, and I think there was so much external conflict. I feel like there could have been a lot more internal conflict within their relationship, where like the lead up to them actually dating could have been longer because like they had internal things they were working through. Like she was a commitment phobe, he had a lot of like girls from his past, like they could have had conflicts about that, but instead it was like she instantly was just like, oh no, I just like you so much, so I want to be in a relationship with you. And that doesn't really totally make sense to me. Like I feel like there could have been more internal stuff that made the interest in their relationship like heightened, but instead it felt like, okay, like it wasn't quite insta love, but it felt a little bit like, okay, like the two of us are working things out together for the whole book. I don't know. And it just felt like there were a lot of plot lines plopped in, just a lot of different plot lines. Those are my thoughts. I'm gonna start Alone with You in the Ether. There are so many good reviews on this. I started it, and the writing is fantastic already. It's giving like literary fiction romance, which I'm not trying to be pretentious, I'm not trying to be a book snob, but it's just that the contemporary contemporary romances I've read in the past, I don't know, 6 months, I feel like have not done me well. I have not been satisfied by them. I will say the 2 contemporary romances I have read that like I feel like I walked away not being angry at the writing was The Kiss Quotient and It Happened One Summer, I think. Those 2 had all of the normal cliches and tropes and all the stuff that you love about contemporary romances, but you weren't like shaking your fist at the book, you know, or like, why? Who made this choice? Anyway, so I am excited to read like a little bit more of a literary fiction leaning romance book. I think I need to eat dinner first. I'm gonna order food, start reading, eat after food comes. That's how things work, right? Yes. Okay. Food, I gotta order food. I already have so much more to say about this book. Even if you don't vibe with someone's writing style all the way, you can still acknowledge good writing or just like good writing technique. I feel like this book is the perfect example of that. I feel like some of the writing can be like kind of meandering for no reason, pontificating certain things for no real purpose, but the writing is done well enough that like makes it kind of interesting. And then also apart from that, the structure of the writing is really well done, like how she's structuring the exposition, how she's like positioning the characters, making them either like reliable, unreliable narrators. Like it's all just done so well. You know, I miss this. Alright, y'all. We're on part 2. I'm gonna continue reading this probably in bed with my burrito. Bed, burrito, and a book. Bed, burrito, and a book. That's what dreams are made of, people. Hey y'all, I'm splitting my time tonight between reading this book, this way through, this level, this amount, this many through the book. I'm very much enjoying it. I feel like it takes a little bit longer, like it's not as much of a like speed read as the books I was just reading, but splitting my time between that and playing Lethal Company with Alyssa and Raleigh, so I probably won't make that much of a dent because we usually stay on Lethal Company for a while, but just a little progress update. My main thoughts right now are that I really like how Olivia, I like how she creates characters that are flawed. Sometimes Reagan can feel a little bit like forced flawed, but I think that there just exists people like that in the world, and like, yeah, they might be rare, but this book is about these 2 specific people, so I think it kind of makes sense in the context of like, here's these 2 kind of wackadoodle people that met, and like this is the story of them meeting and being in each other's lives for a bit. So I think it kind of makes sense. It doesn't feel like, here we go, she has like a crazy backstory and personality, just because I feel like the rest of the writing is so good that it doesn't feel like a lazy thing. It feels like intentional. And then I just love the way the meet cute was super just like anticlimactic in like the best way. Them like slowly getting to know each other, and then just like you feeling that they want to be around each other, and they're like thinking about each other, and they just like it feels so real, like you've been there before, and it's just like such a real thing. It's just like so real so far. So it's like the characters are kind of like out of this world, almost absurd, but then the way that they're starting the relationship and like progressing through the beginning of this relationship, I'm guessing it's gonna be a relationship, I don't know, it's just so real and relatable. It feels very familiar in like a nostalgic, I don't know, kind of wistful way, you know, which I feel like is what you want from a book. That's what I want from a romance book, is I want to be like, I've been there, or like, I feel that now, you know what I mean? Like I want to feel pulled to it in a way that feels personal. And I think with a lot of I won't do a blanket statement, but especially with the past 2 books I read, feels less like a personal pull. Even if like the characters are super regular in the last 2 books, it still doesn't feel personal because it doesn't feel based in anything real. I'm really liking it, and I will give you an update. I think when I get to like the halfway point, then I'll give y'all an update again. Okay, bye. Y'all, this book, oh my god, this book. Oh my god. Okay, it's not even the romance of it all. It's not the romance. It's the writing, the complexity of the characters. There's simply so much to unpack in every single sentence. Like, This author, Olivia Blake, does not let a single sentence go to waste. Like, does not see a single sentence as something to just like throw away. She makes every sentence mean something to the characters, to the plot progression. Like, every single sentence, there's a purpose for it. It's not just complexity in like the sentences she's creating, because there's that, but there's complexity in like the actual relationship she's created with these characters, to where him brushing a hair away from her face means something completely different to them in the context of their relationship than it does just like in, you know, the book I just read, for example, where it means nothing else except that he brushed a hair from her face and that he likes her. You know, it's like she's created just a little world, a little universe where they have their own language and they have their own like flow. I have a couple of these like little sticky notes that I wrote when something really stood out to me. And I wrote about the narrators. I can't read my own writing, but I think I was saying I like that there's the different narrators, because it like breaks up the exposition, which there's nothing worse to me than just like boring exposition in the beginning of the book where they're like, this is my whole backstory. This is the next character's whole backstory. The way that she did it, I think, was so brilliant and engaging, where the narrator concept, it ends at page 32, never is a narrator seen again, I don't think. And so it was kind of just like a cheeky, funny, interesting way to have this like little chunk of exposition in the beginning of the book when you're getting to know the characters. And she loved like foreshadowing. There's so much kind of foreshadowing in the beginning, and that is dropped off too, so that you can really just like focus on the story. It's really like you were getting this little like trailer almost, or like the intro to a movie where you're getting like a montage of the characters' lives, so you like understand who they are, and then all of a sudden you're dropped into the story. Like, that's what it feels. It's like little montage at the beginning, dropped into the story, and you're like so invested. There's definitely going to be spoilers. Fast forward if you don't want spoilers. The premise of kind of the relationship of the protagonists, the two protagonists, is like they have a meet cute, basically. They like run into each other at the museum that she works at. They just like interest each other so much. I think they run into each other again, and then they're like, let's just have 6 conversations. 6 conversations only, where we both learn something about each other. That's it. They place this 6 conversation confines on the relationship. There's like a shrinking timeline, and it makes it interesting to see how both characters react to that, and it makes it interesting as a reader, because you're like, how do they deal with that situation? Do they extend? Do they ignore? Like, what happens? And so you're just like drawn in, but then you're also getting to know the character. So you're getting to know the guy. You're like, okay, he's a rule follower, like he's logic based, he's not gonna just say to hell with the rules. And she is very stubborn and like emotionally guarded, and so she's not gonna want to be vulnerable enough to be like, hey, let's, you know, to hell with the rules. So you have this idea of like how they would be, but then you know it can't end that way, so you're like so invested in it. Yeah. And then I wrote, love the effect of the slowly shrinking timeline. So far it stayed firm, and even when it seems like one person wants to bend the rules and add more combos, they don't. By way of their characterization, she's stubborn and closed off of feeling, and he's logical / rule based. She's running and he's just behaving. Also, it makes the reader want to keep reading to see post timeline, like what happens. But it's so interesting because like it shows you both how the characters start to like care for each other and like how they're expressing that indirectly. Another thing I wrote was, I love the idea of creating excuses to touch / moments of physical intimacy versus jumping into it in such like a straightforward way. It makes for much better yearning, and it humanizes the characters, especially when they're still kind of strangers and not wanting to cross boundaries. So like I feel like in a lot of romance books, they just do the like, he grabbed her and kissed her, and it's like, a lot of people don't do that, especially if you like just met somebody. That's just not how people work. There's these moments of like crossing boundaries in like normal ways, like creating excuses to touch and things like that. This is not romanticizing their relationship, because their relationship has issues for a lot of reasons, but I just like the writing around it is my only point. I wrote that I love that they have their own language now. When they say, I hope you didn't learn anything, it basically means I want to see you again, because for them, if they didn't learn anything, it didn't count as a conversation. And so if they did learn something, it would mean they wouldn't be able to see each other again, because it would count as a conversation. Like, you're rooting against them and for them at the same time, which I think is always good. It's good to have complex feelings. I don't always just want to root for them 100%. Then it gets kind of more like complicated. We meet the main character's parents, because they go to a party. We see a lot more into like her psyche, and then we also, I feel like a little bit more like slips in her point of view. I don't think she actually really likes him. I think she likes that what he says about her. He looks bad to her parents. She likes that. She likes to cause a scene with her parents. He looks good to some other people because he's really smart. She wants to be associated with smart people. Ooh, there's this quote. I won't give the context, but if you know, you know. Reagan, he thought, Reagan, this night is stolen. I want grand larceny, and this is petty theft. And then, I won't get too into this because I feel like this is kind of complicated. She asks him, like, what's the one thing you would want from me? And she's asking in such a way of like, do you want me? But she's like, what's the one thing you want from me, like, or want to know about me? And he's like, I want to know your art, like I want to see your art. And for him, that's like the ultimate puzzle, is like her art. She kind of like closes off, freaks out because he didn't just say like, I want you. And she has this moment where she's just like, she's thinking like, I've never been good at art, not in the way he would expect from me, not in the way he would want. And it's just like this, such like a raw moment where you're like, oh girl, like you feel so bad for her because her physical form, if anyone sees beyond that, then like she can't deliver. They're gonna be disappointed because she has this like disappointment wound with her parents. It's so interesting. So that's where I left off. Those are all my thoughts. I'm gonna keep reading. I hopefully want to get through this and be able to talk about the whole book with y'all, but loving it so far. This real quickly started to stress me out, okay? It's stressing me out. I'm on part 4 now. Part 4, titled Firsts. I think that there's not that many more parts left. Let's see, there's a part 5 and a part 6, and that's it. So I have 3 more parts left. The last part ended on a stressful note. Real stressful. I'll catch you on the other side. All right. If this is what it is to burn, he thought, then I will be worth more as scattered ash than any of my unscathed pieces. I think I can finish this tonight. I'm on page 200 out of like 269. I could do it. You guys, I finished. It was really good. I think I'll sleep on it. I'll give more of my complete thoughts tomorrow, but it was very good. I think I was expecting not the ending that we got. Enjoyed it and enjoyed like kind of the ups and downs, going through the ups and downs. I like was so invested in the characters from start to finish, like shared in the characters' disappointments and triumphs and all of the kind of ups and downs. You really go through it with them. So I'm going to talk more about it tomorrow. I'm so happy to have ended on a high note. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Okay, y'all, final thoughts. My final thoughts on Alone with You in the Ether. I think my overall thoughts are I really love the writing. I think that like, I feel like the prose in Atlas 6 was better, but the character development and movement of the plot was better in this. If Atlas 6 came first, I feel like that means that she thought she was kind of trying to be more wordy and verbose and, you know, all that stuff and kind of be a more serious writer. And I don't think she had to do that. I think that Atlas 6 showed she could write well. This felt a little bit like she was trying to show her skill as a writer, and I don't think she needs to. So that was my only thing with this, is it did feel a little bit like, okay, girl, we get it, you're a writer, you're a serious writer, so serious, we get it. I think that just means she has growth to do, because I think that she can find a good balance where it doesn't feel like she's like trying. And then in terms of plot, very much enjoyed beginning, middle, and I think the end did let me down a little bit. I think the end makes this not a full 5-star for me. I think it was kind of like wrapped up, throw some stuff out and then like pull it back in and wrap it up again. I think it could have been done a little better. I think the characters deserved a little bit better. It's not that like I wanted some really sad ending, but I think I wanted a little bit more of like an ending that leaves you thinking. It's just not a book I think that I will think about in the future. I think that there's some elements that will stay with me and like hold somewhere in my psyche, but I don't think it's really going to stay with me in that, like, I'll think about, oh my gosh, where are the characters now? Even if it is a happy ending. Like, it can be a happy ending and still leave you just, like, thinking, wondering about how they navigate that happy ending. But I don't think this one did that either. Oh my god, wait. One of my favorite quotes, when Aldo is talking to, like, friends and family, at his dad's restaurant. This is Reagan's perception of him. When Aldo spoke of Reagan, his voice had a tendency to change, illumination rising near his cheeks. "You should see her work," he would say, the same way someone else might have said, "Come outside, come look at the stars." I just think that was, like, so good. Like, it's such good descriptive language. Like, you immediately could see the way he's, like, saying that in that way. Like, oh my god, come outside, look at the stars. Like, you should see her work. He just has so much pride and excitement and, like, this true feeling that he can't hide. And I think that was just that was just, like, one of my favorite quotes. It's so descriptive. Oh, okay, this is the part where she's thinking about how much she misses Aldo and, like, what she would do to get Aldo back, like, stage an emergency or whatever. She, like, tumbles into this kind of cycle of shame. And so I was writing that this whole dialogue shows how much shame can control you. Like, if you accept your thoughts and don't wear them like they're yours, you can move on and move honestly with other people. Like, if she just was like, oh my god, I had this crazy thought that I would stage an emergency to get Aldo home. So silly of me. I obviously just miss him. And then she could kind of call Aldo and be like, I was thinking about staging an emergency to get you home. That's how much I miss you. But anyways, I'll see you. You know what I mean? There's some humanity in that. Like, a lot of people have crazy, silly thoughts like that. But she has so much shame from, like, all of her trauma with her family and stuff. And just, like, she has so much shame about the way she thinks and the way that she might manipulate people because everyone around her has told her how, like, manipulative and, like, fake she is. So she has shame about that, but then also her family's telling her, like, she's crazy and all this stuff and she needs to be medicated. So then I wrote, if you internalize and latch onto shame, it's all-consuming, and it tells you you're a liar, a fraud, crazy, not good enough, etc. She feels like a liar because she owns her thoughts as her identity, when they're just thoughts. Everybody has thoughts. She goes through this shame spiral of, like, oh my gosh, I'm a liar and I'm just lying to Aldo when I call him and tell him everything's fine. You know, I miss you, but only a regular amount. And, like, she has this shame about lying to him when it's like, no, you just had a thought. That doesn't mean that's you to your core. You just had a thought. That's okay to have a thought. And you don't have to, like, latch onto every thought you have as your identity, as, like, the truth, as, like, this is coming from you and you only. Like, everybody has thoughts. We're like sponges. Our brains are sponges seeping in information from everywhere, responding to stimuli. Like, it's just a brain. Like, who knows where the thoughts come from. But she truly just, like, she has such a shame wound that she wants to find herself at fault for, like, everything she thinks, everything she does or doesn't do. It's like she finds herself at fault for it, which makes sense because that's what her mom did to her. And her sister, too. It's like her sister was, like, apologizing for her to Aldo for doing nothing. Aldo's like, why are you apologizing for her? She didn't do anything. So it all makes sense, which is why I feel like her character work is so good, because the things about the characters make so much sense based on their background, and it's not so, like, heavy-handed. It just is. Like, you see it seep out in all of their decisions and the way that they, like, process information. But the other thing I do like is that she shows the kind of difference in the relationship with Aldo, because she's like, I'm a liar, I'm a fraud. But then she kind of ends up telling him, like, how much she actually does miss him, I think. She almost, like, stops and unpacks things herself, which is really cool because she doesn't do that with other people. But she does it with Aldo because I think she feels safe enough to, like, share what she's really feeling. But she's like, oh, I don't think I want to come back to LA. I think I just want to come back to last week. And then they have this moment where they kind of reminisce on the week before. Then she, like, leaves the conversation feeling fine because she was able to just express, like, oh, I just miss the good time we just had. I just missed that a lot, I guess. Yeah, anyways, those were just the last sticky notes that I wrote that I didn't get to last night, but really good book. Recommend to basically anybody. I think anybody would enjoy this. I think I'm gonna rate this a 4 or a 4.5 out of 5. I haven't really decided yet. I think I need to sit with it a little more. But there were just so, like, I highlighted so much. There were so many good quotes. Wasn't, like, perfect. I'm not going to think about it forever and ever after I put it down. But was such a journey, such a delight, and really made me love reading again and, like, love the process of reading. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me on this book journey. I know we went through just a roller coaster of emotions. The first one that was mediocre, to the middle two that were just so awful, to the last one that I loved. Who else would I want to rant about books with? Please, 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 as a palate cleanser for the two bad books we had, if you have a book that you've read recently that, like, you absolutely love. I want your absolute 5-star favorite recommendations, and I will read them because I need something good for once. And I'll see y'all next time. And don't forget to check out the link for the ThredUp favorites and use the code CozyK if you want 35% off plus free shipping on your first order. Thank you again, ThredUp, for sponsoring this video. I love you guys. Stay cozy. Bye.